and anyway. Hey guys, we're recording right now. I have Alex on. I'm super excited. We were chatting back and forth on Messenger, and he's like, I want to go to another level. I want to make some shifts and changes. And so I'm like, let's do some coaching. So basically we're going to take, and Alex has lost 30 pounds when he started, maybe more, maybe less. We don't know. He doesn't weigh himself, which is a big props to you, Alex. But you've been doing some physical activity, but you're just looking for that kind of like, what's the next step? Where do I go from here, and how do I make some changes? And then what I'd like to do too is maybe, why are you plateaued? And so I think it's sometimes good to understand why we're at where we're at, and then how do we, what's our expectation to go forward. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate this.
I'm excited too. So no rush. But first off, I know you said you started at 340. You went down to around 310. You haven't weighed yourself in a few months, but you kind of feel like you're in this limbo land. Is that correct? Just so we're on the same page, right?
That's correct.
Cool. When you got started, what was your initial goal? Like, what's the one thing you wanted to achieve?
Well, the whole initial goal was just getting 30 minutes of movement every day.
Okay, cool. Why? So, why was that so important?
Well, the big thing was drop pounds.
Okay. Did you have a certain number of weight you're looking to achieving? Just you wanted to lose?
Not really, because you read various things online and people say, well, you're this tall, you should weigh this. You're this tall, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just want to be in a healthy weight to where, like, I could play an hour of basketball with my son and just keep going. And, as I get up there in age a little bit, like, I kind of get these aches and pains and stuff. And I was like,
I do know that.
Great.
Right.
Because my job is I sit in front of a computer all day. So I needed to incorporate activity into my life.
Perfect. And so one of the things that I think is important for us to kind of recognize, and you had success, right? You started moving in this direction. Mm-hmm. And what can happen though, if we don't have, and it doesn't have to be this huge monster goal. Like, I like big goals, right? But I always like to have a step to go after. The reason why it gives us something tangible to measure, right? Because one day you can go play basketball with your son and you're like, I felt pretty good. Then the next day you're sore and you're like, do I feel as good as I did yesterday? And it's not a way to like assess it that well. So if you think about this, if you have a goal, I just did a live about this. If kind of the weight loss is your only goal, which yours isn't, which I'm glad to, we're just going to quantify it a little bit. I'm going to give you some steps to take. If weight loss is your only goal, I've never seen anybody achieve it and maintain it ever. They always have to be, there's got to be something else tangible that we can assess, because ultimately you're creating a new life for yourself, right? Your old life didn't serve you the way you wanted to. So you're creating a new one. So we have to go out and design what that looks like. So Karen says she's got a plateau also. So Karen, I want you to listen to this. Now, what kind of you said you want to be working out more. What kind of physical activity have you been doing currently, and how long you've been doing it for?
So my main, probably 99% of my activity has been walking. Today was day 155 in a row.
Wow.
Walking.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the whole basketball thing, not feeling well, because Monday, I think it was, I played basketball with my son, and the next day I woke up, my knee was killing me. Right. So I'm like, man. But I still get out there, and, not as quick as other days, but it all initially started like, hey, we're 100 days from Christmas. Who wants to jump in and start moving our bodies and getting ready for the holidays and all that kind of jazz? And so Christmas came and went, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this going because I feel good, whenever I go out and walk. And
so do you celebrate that?
Yeah.
Have you done a huge celebration? I mean, like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thankful every day I get to do it.
Okay, cool. So let me ask this question. How far do you walk each day? And how far is it? And do you change it up at all?
Usually I do. It's like where we live, there's a lot of neighborhoods around, schools and stuff. So I just alter my route. And then If I'm out and not going to be around home, I'll go walk somewhere else, or sometimes I'll drive down to the beach area and I'll walk along the beach. And it's usually at least 2 miles up to 4 miles. It just kind of depends on how much time I have.
Okay. So this is going to be, I'm going to get some more in depth here. So if you're watching this right now, basically Alex has lost some weight, plateaued. He's been very active, 180 days, 158 days consistently walking. 155 consistently walking days, but his body's kind of plateauing. So I'm going to give you 2 things. Now, the other thing a lot of you don't know is you've been doing OMAD one meal a day. Is that majority of the time? How long have you been doing that for?
I officially haven't started that. I've been doing.
You haven't started yet. You're just been
doing intermittent fasting. So I think I need to shift that around some, because my evening meal, I think, is kind of affecting results I want. I'm eating too late in the evening.
Okay.
But say like by 9 o'clock, I'm done eating. I typically don't eat until noon the next day.
Okay. Is that almost every day you do that?
I've done that ever since I started walking. I've been doing it. And I think there was one day I had breakfast.
Okay. So I have some good ideas for you. I think this is going to work really, really well for you. Are you open for some shifts and changes?
Heck yeah, I am.
All right, here we go. Number 1 is when you start a physical activity, and this is anybody that's plateaued, if you start working out or become a physical active, when you started your walking, if I was to tell you to go walk 4 miles, how did you feel? Was it hard to do? Did you feel tired, maybe fatigued, sore from walking 4 miles?
Yeah.
If I asked you this week going for a walk for 4 miles, do you feel tired, fatigued, or sore at all from walking 4 miles?
No.
So what happened is when you first started, it was an exercise, and then it turned into an activity. So this is really important for people to realize, is that when you're trying to make a transformation, you're trying to change your body, you have to apply an external force that's greater than what your body's capable of doing. Not all the time, but you still have to apply that once or twice a week. Twice a week probably is more optimal. So what happened is you went to a maintenance phase. You're basically in the maintenance of where you want to be, because the walking has just become consistent, right? Which is good. Don't stop that, because obviously it's helping you maintain everything you've accomplished. At the same time, it's not going to help you get further ahead. So all you have to do is something simple. And let me ask you this question. How fast can you walk 1 mile?
I'm like 18 minutes.
18 minutes. Now, have you created a template to be competitive to get it to 17 minutes?
I have, yes.
Okay. So you want to get it to 17 minutes. What are you doing to try to get to 17 minutes?
Nothing.
All right. So let's
do
that.
I set out my pace, and then I've noticed some of the times when I pushed myself, I do have that pain. I start developing shin splints.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I always dial it back because I don't want to stop walking every day.
Right.
And I don't want shin splints to put me up.
Let me ask this question. Have you always been a pretty stocky guy?
Yeah.
I was to ask you, what would you rather do? Run for 20 feet or run for 2 miles? What would you say?
20 feet.
20 feet. Yeah. So you're training, and I'm not against walking 4 miles or 2 miles. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. You can walk a long walk maybe once a week. Like on a Saturday is kind of like your long walk. But I would move you more into some interval trainings. Now, if you were more of a stick figure and you're more endurance based, I would probably push you to run a little bit more, like do a run walk. I don't think you're going to get a better result of walking further. I think you're going to get a better result of doing something more intense, shorter. So this is what I'm going to recommend. I want you to do it twice a week, and it's going to be you can go up to 3 times a week, but for right now, I'm going to do it twice a week. You're going to go for a 2 mile walk. The other day, I want you to walk every day, by the way. And I don't really care. Maybe one day a week you go to 4 miles, you do your long walk, and then the other days you're going to shoot for the 2 miles. 3 of those days you're going to do 2 miles. What I want you to do is I want you to go do like a 10-minute warm up. You're going to then go sprint. And the sprint doesn't have to be 100%. It could be a 65% sprint, something that gasses you, but I don't want you to stress your joints. I don't want you to beat yourself up. You might choose to do this on more of a hill because it's a little harder. And I want you to go for about a 20-second sprint. Okay. 20
Yeah.
seconds, not very far. Okay. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take at least a minute and 40 seconds rest. Walk slow.
Okay.
Minute and 40. I'm trying to time it out. So you go 20 seconds hard, a minute 40 off. So every 2 minutes, you're basically running for 20 seconds. Okay.
Got it.
And you want to work up to 8 to 10 rounds of that. So the first week, first time you do it, you might only do it 4 times. You're like, I'm smoked. Then good. Because you're gonna do it, you're on a consistent path. So you're gonna stay consistent on this. So you don't have to rush to the end. Once you can do that 8 to 10 times, 3 times a week, right? Now you're speeding up your walk. Does that make sense? You're speeding up your time because you'll be running for, 4 or 5 minutes of the 2-mile walk. Okay. So you're going to speed up the time. So you're making yourself more fast, right? Once you get better at that, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the 20 seconds, but just bring down the recovery a little bit and then add more to the end. Or we can run 10 seconds longer, right? And keep the recovery back 10 seconds, right? So you just make slight adjustments to it. Okay.
Awesome.
So
got it.
2 times a week. If you feel good, do 3. Don't rush. The goal is get to 3, 8 to 10 reps. Once you can accomplish that and you feel comfortable doing that, then we got to change it again. We're going to modify because eventually it'll just become normal again, right? That's number 1. Number 2, what I want you to do is just start working on when you do your walks at the end, probably at the end of your walks, I want you to do something simple, like maybe it's 10 lunges each side and just work on range of motion. If you can do a full squat, work on your full squats, right? Let's start working on joint mobility. You said talking about the knees and shins and stuff like that. I can send you over, if you want me to, I can send you over the lunge routine. It'd be more of like a split squat lunge. Do you have any knee surgeries or anything like that?
No, I haven't had any surgeries.
Okay. So yeah, so I want you to get stronger around the legs and around the knees, and more range of motion. So I would do maybe it's 10. It's more like an active range of motion rather than it's like a workout. But I just want you to kind of start putting a standard in there. I want you to add 5 or 10 push-ups.
Okay.
Okay. Just those 2 things for now. We can always throw some burpees in there. We can add more stuff, but I just want you to kind of work on just range of motion and just working through the depth of your joints because you sit a lot and you're not using those muscles when you're sitting on them. So this is a way for us to use them. So that's going to be your physical activity change, just something subtle. Now, I don't want you to go to the point where you hate walking where you stop your routine because keep that going. Okay. Keep that going.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you only do 1 sprint for the first week, I'm cool. But then let's just add a little bit to it. If you have to go 20 seconds and then walk for 5 minutes before you do your next 20 seconds, if that's your starting point, I don't care. I just want to start challenging your body differently. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, eating. This is really important. So if you guys are watching this and you've been doing intermittent fasting, which I'm a huge fan of fasting, at the same time, I know I didn't ask your calories, but could you just give me an idea of what you eat per day? So you drink your ketones in the morning, right?
Yep. I have actually when I get up, I have water, and then I usually have a coffee with some keto cream. Then I go for my walk typically.
Okay.
And then when I get back, I'll have my ketones. And then for lunch is usually, a lot of times it's just like today, for example, was a like sirloin steak and some broccoli.
How big?
It was probably 6 inches by 3.5.
Okay.
It was pretty thin.
Okay.
So then I have just drink water, and then I have ketones at around 3:00 in the afternoon, and then dinner is typically like it usually is like has some type of dairy involved, cheese usually, and then some sort of protein. But I think part of the problem is that 9 times out of 10, there's no green vegetables involved. Sometimes it's like the protein, the cheese, and crackers.
Okay.
Not
Cool.
the most ideal.
Right. Is it so? It's relatively low carb, but it's not like you're not crazy keto, crazy low carb restricted.
Correct. And then
So
calories overall, I mean, I would think I'm probably like around 1,800.
So based on what you just told me, I would be surprised if you're over 1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I
the lunch is not typically the steak and broccoli. You know, a lot of times sometimes it's white rice that I've cooked earlier in the week, just because it doesn't spike my my insulin.
Okay.
And then it's usually that with like some sort of protein, things of that nature. But you could be right on point as far as calorie wise.
Well, that's what my concern is, right? So you're eating more intermittent fasting, more controlled glucose control is what you're focused on, not necessarily low carb. It's lower carb than probably used to be the average person. My big concern is if you're long-term low calorie. So I would measure your calories for the day. How tall are you?
5'7".
So 5'7". And you're active too. It's not like you're not walking, right? I know you sit a lot too, but you are out moving your body also. I think if we looked at your calorie component of it, and just so you all know, I'm not a huge fan of counting calories, although there's a couple factors you want to keep in mind. One, to lose body fat, you have to be less calories than you currently burn. On the flip side of that, if you're on the low end for a long period of time, you can slow down your metabolism. Especially if it's long term. So calorie confusion is what I'm going to actually recommend for you. Now, when's the last time you went kind of more like full low carb without using any type of cracker or rice? Have you done that at all?
No, I think either one of the two meals had some sort of type of carb involved.
Okay. So that's something that we can play with, I think, a little bit later. I wouldn't do that right now, but I think we play with that down the road. I think maybe you go like, hey, listen, I'm going to do 10 days or maybe 5 days. I'm going to go more low carb during the week, and then maybe give yourself as long as you don't binge eat on it in the afternoon, in the weekends, I'm fine with that. But I want that's something we'll just put on pause for now. But this is what I'm going to recommend. I want you to kind of just give yourself an idea of how many calories you're consuming a day. Hit me back on that. If it's under 2,000 calories a day, and you're pretty consistent over the last 100 days or longer, that does concern me. So what I want you to do is find 2 days a week where you basically, I call it a refeed. This happens a lot, y'all. This is something that people are getting competitive low calorie. And the reality is we want people to be less food than they're normally eating. But the thing is, you don't want to be competitive at it. You also got to feed the warrior inside, right? So when you do the refeed days, I'm going to tell you what that is. I want you to kind of assess how your performance is the next day. How'd you sleep? How are your cravings at night? You might find that you're getting less hungry late at night because you fed more earlier. So we're going to change some things up. So 2 days a week, you're going to do refeed days. Now, I still want you to keep those. I want you to keep them healthy. It's not eat what you want. That's not the idea of these, but the idea is for you to eat more on those days. It's to create calorie confusion for for the body. It doesn't have to be back to back. If people that do the weekend, that's fine. If that's just the easiest for you to do, but it could be a Wednesday, Saturday. It could be a Monday, Thursday, whatever works best for you. But 2 days can be back to back, and you're going to eat at least 3 meals on those 2 days, or 2 very larger meals. But I recommend 3 meals. I recommend spreading it out a little bit. And you can intermittent fast still, but you don't have to necessarily go long. You might, if you get hungry at 8 a.m., eat at 8. Like, let's not make it so rigid. Okay. And give yourself the ability to do a refeed. This is something that I see chronic as a problem for people, is that they're competitively trying not to eat. And that's not, like, ancestrally, think about it this way. We would have went days without food, right? We would have found little bits of food time to time, but then we would have feasted also. So we're trying to recreate that just a little bit within the normal world that we live in. And so we got to find some of that in there and some of those factors in there. So, so that's one of the things I would like for you to do. What's up, Liam? And I think that's going to help. And then what I would do is after about 2 weeks, I want you to really look at how's your performance and test your mile walk again.
Okay.
And see if that's gotten better. That mile walk time, if you see that improve, that tells you your body is enhancing performance. And that tells you that your body's going to be way better at fat metabolism. Okay. It's going to be easier to go for another challenge. And then I would say maybe in 2 to 3 weeks, we go and do maybe a few cycles of low carb, at least 5 days in a row. If not, maybe go 14 days in a row if you're willing to commit to that, and try a little bit more aggressive low carb for just to kind of accelerate the fat burning effect.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm all in, man.
Awesome. I'm going to give you one more or a couple more little tips if you want them.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is a couple other tips I want you to do. On your long walk days, when you wake up in the morning, are you pretty refreshed? Are you pretty ready to go? Or are you kind of like, I need my coffee to get going?
Usually it takes me a while to get going, but you know, I like to get outside right away, get some fresh air.
If I told you to go for a walk without coffee, would that be no bueno? That'd be no good.
No, I could do it. I could do it.
So I want you to try something. On your days that you're not doing your intervals, your sprint intervals, I want you to go and just have your water and walk without the coffee.
Okay.
Okay. Have your coffee when you get back. On your days that you do, maybe on the long day, if you go for the 4 hours, maybe you can do that. You can play around with it. But on your day that you're going to go for your sprint intervals, I want you to have your ketones first and save your coffee for after.
All right.
We're just going to flop some things around. So we're not taking anything out. We're just changing the order a little bit. So we'll use the ketones for performance. And then I want you to be more fasted on your morning walks on the days that you're just going for the long walks. Okay. And then we'll start fueling your body after that.
You got it.
Okay. So then hit me back. I'd like to see an update, within 2 weeks, an update, just kind of fill me in. We'll come back and we'll tell everybody, how things are going. And then we can talk about maybe doing a little low carb challenge, for you, because sometimes we need to go a little bit more aggressive to get the metabolic health dialed in so that you can be metabolically flexible. What it means to be metabolically flexible means that you can take some days off and you don't just pack on the weight, right? And your body, you can go back and forth a little bit more efficiently. Right now, your body is prone to storing body fat, and we need to make that turn completely, and we just don't know where that's going to come from. So, but I think changing your exercises, refeeding a couple times, and focus on performance is going to get you there fast, and you're going to feel better. Your energy level should go up by 20 or 30%.
Yes.
All right. Any questions for me?
As far as like the eating stuff, is it kind of stick to what I was kind of eating already? Or...
Yeah, I don't want to change a lot at the moment. I really just want you to try not to eat too late at night. Try to stop before 8 o'clock. That does make a difference. You make 8 p.m. kind of that late night done. Prioritize protein, which is what you're doing. And I wouldn't change a ton at the moment. Just add the refeed days. On the refeed days, I want you to prioritize protein on those refeed days. So I wouldn't change a lot. I don't think it's as much about the food as is just some of the other factors. If it's about the food, then we're going to have to go more to the keto or the low carb living, where it's a little bit more like clean or strict. But let's not jump to that conclusion, because you're elevating your ketone levels, you're eating well, you're moving well, like you're doing all these other things. Maybe we don't need to go so far that way. In a couple of weeks, we should kind of know, and then we can test it from there. At least now you get an awareness. You're like, okay, listen, my body did really well by not going so extreme to the low carb side of it, and I still am getting where I want to go. Or you're like, listen, I'm doing all these things and I'm not getting there. The next thing I have to do is go to the low carb side of it. So then we know, and you can make a decision. Otherwise, you're just going back and forth, and then people never truly know.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. You sit all day long. Do you go out in the middle of the day at all? Do you go outside in the middle of the day at all?
here and there, but
Okay.
I
Added
don't make
bonus.
that.
You live in Florida. Added bonus. The most important time to go outside is between 10 and 2 p.m., 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So if you can take your lunch and go outside and eat it outside, I'm okay with you taking your socks off, putting your feet in the grass. All that will just make things better. It'll only help you. It will not hurt you at all. Okay. 20 minutes of good sunlight in the middle of the day is huge. Very important.
I will do that.
Okay. And your darker skin, you have darker eyes. That's even going to be more important for you than for the fair skin individuals.
Awesome, Dustin. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We got this question. So is fasting okay? I don't get hungry until about 3 p.m. And then I feel so hungry by that time I drink ketones a day. Yeah. So it's really important when you're fasting. There's a level, the competitive fasting thing is what I'm talking about, is like people are setting benchmarks and goals. And I've done that too. I mean, I've done long fasts before, but it's really important you feed the warrior. And the more stress you're under, the more you physically are active, the more you still have to feed your body. And that's why I like to focus on performance. I would never take an athlete and not feed them, right? I'm going to feed them perfectly so they can perform the best. But think about it, we want to perform the best weekend too. So it just may look different. So I think fasting regularly is important, right? So you might do a long fast, you might do some short fasts, you might do some intermittent fasting. But I think it's the cycle of all of it that really is where people find the sweet spot. And it's going to look differently. If you find that you're not eating and then you get super hungry and you're binge eating, basically that's a tipping point. You're either not listening to your body, so you need to start preparing for that. So I would tell you 2 hours before you got hungry, start eating. Meaning fuel your body with something high quality food, so you don't just go binge. Because if you don't have your ketones available, what happens? You grab whatever crap you can, because your body just is, it's like your body's going into survival mode. And if all it has to do is go hunt in the pantry, it's going to go hunt in the pantry, if that makes sense. So you don't want to push it to that far. At the same time, you want to understand the psychological side of it. Some people are fasting and they're hungry for the wrong reasons. It's not because of they're hungry, it's because of their mood, and it's because of their habits. And these are all things that we have to take into consideration. But we start looking at the basic biochemistry and basic survival mechanisms of the human body, which is the people that, like, you're at now, right? You're at a different phase than you were when we started. So that's things that we have to keep in mind, that we don't want to try to beat survival, because you'll lose always if you're trying to beat survival. That's why I encourage feed the warrior. Dr. Jacob Wilson, we talk extensively about this. I'm a big fan of cycling calories, not carbohydrates. I don't think people need to really cycle much carbohydrates. Either you eat them or you don't, but you do need to cycle calories, where you don't want to necessarily be, for most people, they don't want to be on the same thing every single day their whole life, right? They typically they set themselves up for failure, especially if they're on a health transformation. So for people that like to meal prep, that is a great idea. That's not my style though. So, all right, Alex, man, I appreciate it. Any other questions for me?
No, I'm set right now. You gave me a boatload, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. And stay in that dudes group. We throw challenges out there all the time, and just go for them. You know, I don't always hit all the challenges and stuff, but just go for them, because we know that you're creating a new life, right? You are creating a new future for yourself, and we know that your future will not be the one you're existing in today. When you're healthy, when you get to the ideal health that you want to be in, and your body you want to be in, for your kids and your family and your activity levels, you're going to be in a whole different place. That means your whole day will look different. You know, right now I'm working with, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 50-year-old women, 50-year-old plus women that are doing CrossFit and high intensity training. These women never touched a weight in their life, but they grew into that because they got momentum to get stronger. And now they're experimenting with other things that are enhancing their life. We didn't start them there, but their life got different. So just be okay with designing a new life for yourself. You know, be okay to say, okay, what is it going to like? And you're probably not built to run 5 miles or a marathon, so maybe don't think that way. Think about what you naturally like to do. You know, you might enjoy doing stronger competitions, like where you about strength of your body, because you're a stronger guy. You're not a person that wants to run miles. You want to run 20 feet. So be okay with thinking your brain's more that way because you're built more that way. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, y'all. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for letting me do this. I truly appreciate it because it just hopefully helps other people live better and feel better because we all go through different things and we just need to hear from different voices. So, Alex, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Justin.
All right. Can I take a picture and send it to Christy?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Cheers, y'all.